Hello everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And yesterday, Sam, I was Mike and I was scared.
Yes.
I'm more relaxed today.
Okay.
Yeah, we're reading a story about Dracula.
That's interesting, yeah.
But we haven't met any guys named Dracula.
No, we haven't, not yet.
No big teeth. No one's been bitten on the neck.
In fact, we're going on quite a pleasant adventure.
Exactly. No bats flying around, no garlic, no. But we have met our main character, and he is in Germany.
He is.
Right?
He is in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems to be having a nice little trip there.
Yeah.
But a weird thing happened at the hotel, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. Yes. He was basically reminded or told to come back before it got dark.
Before it got dark, yeah. Not because dinner was really good and you don't want to miss the dinner, no, because something bad could happen. And then as he was traveling in a carriage and he had a local driver or a coachman, he found a nice little country road that looked really lovely. He thought he'd go down there and, maybe find a little cabin in the woods or something. But the driver didn't want to go down that road.
Down that road. No. Why? I wonder why.
Well, there was a special holiday or something,
what
right?
What was that? Walpurgis night.
Walpurgis night.
Yeah.
Some German holiday that seemed to really kind of scare the coachman a little bit. I'm getting a feeling it's kind of like Ghost Month here in Taiwan.
It could well be.
Yeah, yes, I mean, sometimes if you're in August and it's Ghost Month, you might ask your Taiwanese friends, hey, the weather's hot, let's go to the beach and swim. And they might go, no, don't go to the beach.
Don't do that. Don't go down a little lane. Don't go down the path.
If you don't know about the ghosts in the ocean that could hurt you during Ghost Month, you're like, well, why don't you go to the beach? Well, why don't you go in the woods on Walpurgis night? We don't know, but the local people say, don't do it. So let's find out more and hopefully meet Mr. Dracula in today's article.
Reading. Dracula's Guest. Johann was obviously frightened and kept mentioning something about Walpurgis night. He told me that there was an abandoned village along the road. He said it was a place where the dead had once been heard moving in their graves. When people opened the graves, the dead weren't dead at all. But they weren't human anymore, and their mouths were covered with blood. Johann pointed to the carriage and told me to get in. But I got angry and snapped that he was a coward as he drove away in fear. I had been walking along the road for a couple of hours when I suddenly heard the roar of thunder. Then snow began falling, and as the thunder clapped, I was sure I could also hear a wolf. It was only as the snow began to clear that I saw I was in a graveyard. Then I realized something terrible. Walpurgis night was when the graves opened and the dead became free. The storm picked up again, and I took cover in a tomb. There I saw a beautiful red-lipped woman, neither alive nor dead.
All right, well, the good news is the article today basically picks up or continues right where we left yesterday. The character in our story, the guy telling the story, wanted to go down the little road, but no, that wasn't happening. The coachman, Johann, was really not excited about this idea. He really didn't want to do this. And so we read, Johann was obviously frightened, even worse, and kept mentioning something about Walpurgis night. So I guess there's a bit of a language problem, right? Johann
I think there might be.
Probably speaks German, and the guy telling the story maybe is from England. He speaks English. So he's not quite sure what's going on, but Johann's like, 999, Walpurgis night, 999. Okay, he's frightened. He doesn't want to do this, but my German's not that good. But clearly, Johann is frightened. I think if someone's frightened in any language, you know.
You can tell.
You can tell. They turn white. They start to go like that. Because if you're frightened, you're scared. You're afraid. There's some danger that's out there in the future that you think is going to come and get you. You don't want it to happen. You're not sure what the future will be, but you really think it's going to be bad. And so because of all that danger that's around you, your emotions start to go, no. oh, and that's when you're frightened, scared, afraid, horrified, words like that.
That's right, yeah.
The example sentence says, as Barry tried to get his daughter to jump into the pool, he gently told her not to be frightened. Don't be frightened, honey. It's just the pool.
Yeah,
there aren't any big sharks in here that will bite you and eat you and... No, you don't want to say that when someone's frightened.
No.
Calm them down, make them feel perfectly safe. And we also had this word mention, so let's go and check that out. Yeah, and again, we saw there that Johan was mentioning Walpurgis night as one of the reasons he was scared and didn't want to go down the road. So when you mention something, you kind of talk about it, you bring it up, it's something you want to bring into the conversation or get people to pay attention to, but it probably isn't the main reason you're having the conversation. Okay, so we mention things just because we want to bring someone's attention to it so they don't forget about it possibly, or because we just learned it and we think it's important, but it's not like, oh my God, I got to talk about this. This is the thing that's most important to me and I have to tell you about it. No, it's a little bit more like just something on the side that you think isn't that important, but maybe is interesting, so you're going to bring it up. But it's certainly not the most important thing you're talking about. For example, we could say, while she was having coffee with her friends, Hilda casually mentioned that she went on a date with a movie star last night. Whoa, she just mentioned that? No, we want to talk about that, but she's being cool. Oh yeah, I went on a date with Brad Pitt last night. We had a good time. Anyways, tell me about your new job. And you'd be like, whoa, you just mentioned something that's really interesting, because you're not really paying a lot of attention to it, but you do want people to pay attention to it. All right, so there's a road, it's Walpurgis night, something bad is happening, but Johan, it's not really explaining it clearly yet.
No, we still don't know what's going on.
Yeah, what's up, Johan? We need more information, buddy.
Tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
Don't lead us to...
Right, so what did he do?
Nasty. He told me that there was an abandoned village along the road.
Okay, that's a little strange.
Yeah, abandoned, we'll come into that word in a second, but it's a bit creepy,
a little
isn't it?
scary.
Yeah.
It could be scary because, you know, most villages aren't abandoned.
No.
And if they're abandoned, why were they abandoned?
That's right.
That's the maybe scary part.
It is. So let's find out what abandoned means. Well, it means that no one lives there anymore. So if you think about that in the story, it really could be very creepy.
Yeah.
We're going down this road and we're going to a village that no one lives in anymore.
A little village, little houses and shops.
Yeah, just empty.
But then you get there, it's dark. The windows are all broken, a few dogs running around and some paper blowing across the street, but
Nobody's
people.
there, no. So what did our character do? Well, first we said it was a place where the dead had once been heard moving in their graves.
Okay, now I'm scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we're getting really, it was getting a bit terrifying.
That's right.
Now,
I mean,
isn't it?
in the real world, a town might be abandoned if, you know, the big factory closes or they used to find gold, but now there's no more gold, so everyone's moved to another place. But they don't usually abandon it because they can hear dead people moving around at night.
No, that is...
Or just moving around in their graves.
No. So what is a grave?
Okay.
What is a grave? Well, it's where we bury people after they die, okay? We usually dig a hole in the floor and we put someone in a box and we put the box into the hole, okay?
That's it.
So we then put that place is in somewhere called a graveyard. So graves are in the graveyard. In Western countries, these are usually part of a church's grounds.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Not so much in Taiwan, but
not
in Western
so much.
countries,
But yeah, in some of the older churches, you'll go to the church and maybe sort of behind the church in the gardens and ground around it, you'll see these stones, and they're called gravestones, right? They have the person's name and their dates when they were born, when they died. That kind of thing. I mean, it's a nice place to be, right? If your grandfather dies, you put him there. It's a beautiful...
You can take some flowers.
Beautiful place, but at night, it can be a little scary. And of course, there are a lot of stories from history about people coming back from the dead or, scary stories like that. So... I'm not sure I want to be in the graveyard in the middle of the night.
I wouldn't want to be in any graveyard in the middle of the night. Could
be scary. And so people heard these noises coming from the graveyard. They thought it was the sound of dead people moving around. I'm not a doctor, but dead people are not supposed to move around.
Not supposed to, no.
Unless they're, what are they called? Zombies.
Yeah.
And then I'm moving, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened here. It says when people opened the graves or took the earth off to look in the hole where the dead person should be, when people opened the graves, the dead weren't dead at all. But they weren't human anymore. Yay! And their mouths were covered with blood. Cool! No! Oh my God, this is scary. All right, so basically, they found zombies or vampires?
Yeah, vampires, some sort of monster.
Right, some creature, a scary creature that might look human, but is definitely not like you and me, because you and me, we're alive, living people. We are humans, right? So a human, we could use it as a noun. That person is a human. That's a dog. That's a cat. That's a monkey. That kind of thing. Or you can also use it as an adjective. Human behavior, human health, human fitness, human medicine is different from things relating to animals of different types or something like that. So they were not human, but they were still kind of human, but definitely not a human. Right. Let's get to the example sentence. The invention of electricity played an important role throughout human history. It's true, it did.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
All right, so
what's Johan going to do? Is he going to come with us?
No.
No, because Johan pointed to the carriage and told me to get in.
Right, Johan's like, see, you understand. Dead people moving around, let's go.
Let's go. We're going back to the hotel.
I think Johan's, he said enough to get me to get back in the carriage, but the person telling our story is braver than I am, clearly, and it says, but I got angry and snapped that he was a coward as he drove away in fear. I'm not sure I really agree with what our writer's telling us here. He seemed upset that Johan wouldn't go. He called him a coward, basically called him scared or chicken, or you don't want to go because you're going to cry.
Yeah.
You're a coward.
Yeah, he got angry as well.
He got angry, and we know that he was angry when he said these words to Johan because it says he snapped as well. Let's talk about that word, to snap. All right, yeah, so he snapped, and then he called Johan a coward. Well, when you snap, you kind of lose control of your emotions very quickly. A snap, we can use it as a noun, is kind of that kind of cracking sound. Something will snap, like a piece of wood might snap if you break it in half, and it's kind of how it quickly breaks like that, and that's sort of like your emotions. So when someone says they snapped, it doesn't mean they made a cracking sound. It means that they suddenly lost control of their emotions. Probably in a bad way, all right? If you're very frustrated, like, come on, hurry up, and then finally, I can't take it anymore. You guys are so slow. I could stand here and get a long gray beard standing and wasting my time with you. So, whoa, what happened, man? You were just standing in line and suddenly you snapped, or something like that. And it could also possibly be in sadness, right? You could be watching a sad situation, a movie or something, and then you might snap and suddenly you're crying or something like that. So we often use it in a bad way from when you kind of go from feeling okay to suddenly feeling upset, angry, or sad, or something like that. For example, when she was told that the store had run out of toilet paper, Karen snapped. Ooh, suddenly she's really upset. I want to see the manager. I came here for toilet paper. I want toilet paper right now. Calm down, Karen. It's okay. So the writer was very upset with Johan. He lost control of his emotions. He snapped and then called Johan a coward.
Right.
It's not really fair.
No, what is a coward? Well, it's basically we've got a clue meaning fear, okay? A coward is someone who fears many things or is scared of many things.
That's right.
Yeah. Are you a coward? I don't think you're a coward.
I mean, in some situations, it's okay to be a coward.
Yeah,
if
it
someone
really
says,
just depends,
hey,
doesn't it?
that tiger's really hungry. Why don't you go and say hello to him? I'd say, no, I'm going to stay over here. I'm fine. But when it's somewhere where you should be brave, you know, a child is in danger, and you're like, no, I might hurt my finger by saving the child.
Then
you coward. Yeah. You're embarrassing yourself.
Right, exactly. Then you can be called a coward.
Yeah,
it's fair.
Then you can, for sure. All right, back to the article.
Okay. The article then says, I had been walking along the road for a couple of hours when I suddenly heard the roar of thunder.
Ooh, so he went down the road.
He did.
He left Johan back at the carriage, and he's like, nope, I'm going to see this place. I don't care. I'm not scared.
Indeed. So here we have another pocket phrase, and this sentence contains the common phrase, a couple of. Okay. So strictly, a couple means two, just two. But we also do mean it to use a few, so a few of something. Okay. We could say something like, I took a walk in the park earlier. I didn't see much other than a couple of ducks.
Okay.
Now, we could mean two.
Could
could just mean a few ducks.
Exactly.
It's not going to be hundreds.
No.
And it's definitely not one.
No,
So-
definitely more than one and probably fewer than 10 or something like that. Yeah, in the same way, someone might say, hey, I'm busy. I'll call you back in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
If they don't call you in 2 minutes, don't be upset. They should call you back in 5 or 10 minutes. In a short time or a small amount. So it was a couple of hours later that he heard a roar of a storm or something like that, but it was loud because a roar is basically a loud noise. Lions roar, engines roar.
They do.
The airplane engines on a plane will roar as the plane is getting up to speed to take off. It's very loud, it's very violent. There's a lot of energy being released when someone roars, kind of like that Katy Perry song. Back to the example sentence. The little girl was scared by hearing the roar of the storm outside. Oh yeah, people in Taiwan, they know about the roar of a typhoon.
Yeah, there are a lot of typhoons that make a lot of noise.
A few hours, there can just be the sound of the wind, the roar of the wind, or the roar of thunder in a different type of storm, because thunder is the loud rumbling noise that you hear right after the flash of lightning when a big rainstorm is coming. So the lightning is the flash of that electricity coming down to the ground, and then the sound of the energy being released, that kind of sound, that is the thunder. So there's two parts. Lightning, flash, thunder, roar, this rolling sound, very loud. For example, the flash of lightning was soon followed by the rolling sound of thunder. All right, so storms are coming. I'm on my way to an abandoned village full of dead people who walk around. And suddenly I need an umbrella. Great.
Can it get worse?
I think so. I could need an umbrella and snow boots.
Yes, that might be the case. Let's see. Well, the article then says, snow began falling, and as the thunder clapped, I was sure I could also hear a wolf.
This is a terrible weather in the middle of a forest and scary stuff all around you, including, apparently,
a wolf.
A wolf.
Yeah.
A big, large, wild dog. Okay.
Okay. It was only as the snow began to clear that I saw I was in a graveyard.
Perfect.
Oh, is it the graveyard?
Of course it's the graveyard. Perfect. Okay. Then I realized something terrible. Only then? Only now are you realizing you're in the... Anyways, what's the terrible thing you've now realized or suddenly remembered? Oh yeah, he just realized something. What? Walpurgis night was when the graves opened and the dead became free. Wow. Things you should have realized a few hours ago, right? Yes. Do not go to the scary place on the scariest night of the year. He suddenly realized this. In other words, we could also say, I suddenly realized I'm in really big trouble.
Yeah.
That's what he could also realize.
He could also realize that.
Before we get in trouble, let's check out our language and focus.
Okay, it's time for today's grammar point. So today we have the plus adjective, the dead. We use this when we want to talk about a group in general. So not just one dead person or a few dead people, but every dead person. People often use this grammar to group everyone from one country together. For example, the British like to drink a lot of tea. We've got to be careful to not make unfair statements about large groups of people, though, because they're often not true. We should also note that we think of each group as a plural, even though the word itself is singular. So we must use plural verbs too.
Okay, so storms are coming, dead people are all around, it's Walpurgis night. At this point, I find the road back to the carriage, and that's it. I'm done. Interesting little adventure.
I would run up that road.
I don't want to die on holiday, but let's see what happens.
Let's see, indeed.
Yes.
So, the storm picked up again and I took cover in a tomb.
Excuse me, what?
Is that a good idea? A tomb.
A tomb in the graveyard?
Yeah.
You thought this was the best place to go? My goodness, what is going on here? But I guess if the storm is getting stronger...
You do need cover.
You're getting totally covered with snow and rain,
Yeah.
you're freezing cold, you would want to go to the closest place, but I wouldn't choose the tomb.
No. Well, that last sentence contained the phrase pick up.
Like the storm was
The
picking up. Yeah,
indeed. And we use this to talk about some parts of the weather getting stronger, such as wind or rain or a storm, as in the article. Another example might be the wind seems to be really picking up. Things are blowing everywhere.
Yeah, and of course, pick up can be used to talk about other things getting stronger, bigger, greater. You know, the sales in my new store are picking up because we had a sale.
Yeah.
Sales are going up. Oh, wow, the party's really picked up in the last hour. A lot more people have arrived. The music's louder. Everyone's having a really good time now. So, you know, things are improving, getting better, getting bigger, getting stronger. And that phrase, pick up, was then followed by take cover. After the storm started to pick up, I decided to take cover in the worst place imaginable. To take cover is basically to find somewhere to get under a roof, to get inside, to get around with walls around you, somewhere where you're protected by the crazy bad weather outside. You will take cover from heavy rain, as people here in Taiwan do. If you're on your scooter and it rains in the afternoon, you might take cover under a building or somewhere like that. You could also take cover from the sun on a really hot day. Find a tree in the park and sit under there and take cover from the heat from the sun. So snow, wind, rain, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or even maybe in a bit of danger, find somewhere safe to take cover. All right. And then we also had the word, the place where he took cover, a tomb.
Tomb, yes. We kind of gave a hint about what that might be. But a tomb is a bit like a grave we looked at earlier. Except instead of being a hole in the ground, it's more like a building with body, or sometimes bodies, more than one body, in it.
That's exactly right. Here they might have a family tomb, right? And you either put the person or their bones or something like that in there. It's got a name on it, probably some doors. Often in the West, they kind of look like little temples or little churches or something like that. But yeah, it's maybe for a richer family. They buy this, and for many generations, their ancestors go in the tomb. And what did we find in the tomb? Nothing good is the answer. So inside the tomb, we read as we end our article for today, there, in the tomb, I saw a beautiful red-lipped woman, neither alive nor dead.
Wow, okay.
Okay, beautiful lady. But she's got white skin, black hair, blood dripping maybe from her red lips.
Mouth,
And she doesn't look like a movie star. She looks like a dead movie star or something like that. Or a movie star who really needs to go to the beach because she looks really, really pale.
Not normal anyway.
White. And if she wasn't standing up, you might think, oh, that's a dead person. But no, she's moving around. This is not
good.
The best first date.
I would get out to that tomb.
This is not a good first date. All right, let's check out the chat question, and then we'll come back tomorrow when someone is going to become a vampire.
For You Chat.
All right, our chat question is all about monsters from scary stories.
It is indeed. We're on a bit of a monster theme today, so let's have a look.
All right.
So, which kind of monster from common horror stories do you like the most?
Interesting question. I don't read a lot of horror stories or watch horror movies, but I have to admit, vampires are pretty cool.
They are.
You know, they have some cool powers. They don't seem sort of too weird, right? Because some monsters are like really weird, and a person could never be like that. But
they can be smart too.
And they can be smart. They can live a long time. You know, they often seem kind of cool, and they have good style and know about art and all the best kinds of blood. So I guess vampires are kind of cool. I find zombies to be a little boring.
Right.
I mean, they're very popular these days, and I understand why, but brains. I mean, they don't really have a lot to offer.
Not a lot of personality.
Not a lot of personality. And actually, another classic monster, and I just read the original book not long ago, Frankenstein.
Okay.
Frankenstein's monster. It's actually just the monster.
Okay.
Frankenstein was the doctor who created it. In the book, he's a lot more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, in the movies, he's just big and he was made from dead bodies and he's kind of... He
looks a bit stupid.
Fire, bad. You know, he's like that. But in the book, he's actually quite an interesting person.
Okay.
So I would recommend reading the Frankenstein book by Mary Shelley. But I think, you know, and maybe that's the reason we're still reading vampire movies, vampire stories 150 years later.
It could be.
They're pretty interesting. So what about you guys? Do you have a favorite kind of monster from horror movies and stories? Is there a certain monster and you see, oh, the werewolf is coming back or something? You love it. Have a chat about that. And we'll see you back here tomorrow with more terrible decisions in the final day of our scary Dracula story. Someone's going to get bitten.
I do hope so.
I'm sure. Vocabulary Review. Frightened. Stanley was frightened when his brother jumped out from behind the door and yelled, "Boo!" Mention. The students thought they didn't have homework because the teacher forgot to mention it during class. Human. In the story of Pinocchio, a doll wishes to become a real human boy. Snap. After hearing Melissa's lies, Jessie suddenly snapped and shouted at her. Roar. The typhoon was very powerful. We could hear the roar of the wind outside the window. Thunder. Steve knew that a storm was coming because he could hear thunder in the distance.
智慧小补帖
Abandoned. Grave. Coward. Tomb.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000。02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net